You know it's sad. Yeah, night. You're fighting for your life inside a killer thriller.
Sometimes I feel I've got to run away. I've got to get away from the pain you drive.
Let's get physical, physical. I wanna get physical. Let's get into physical. Let me hear your body talk, body talk.
She's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories where everything was as fresh as the bright blue sky. And mother always told me, be careful who you love, and be careful what you do. 'Cause the love becomes the truth. The Billie Jean's not my love. She's just a girl who thinks that I'm the one.
I was beat, incomplete. I've been had. I was sad and blue, but you made me feel. Yeah, you made me feel shiny and new, like a virgin.
Since you've gone, I've been lost without a trace. I dream at night, I can only see your face. I look around, but it's you I can't replace. I feel so cold and I long for your embrace. I keep crying, baby, baby, please.
We chose the hit song Straight Up by Paula Abdul for our love song. It's a different kind of love song in a sense that Abdul gives off a sassy attitude with the upbeat music. The song is about being hurt and not wanting to be hurt again, so it's just easier to hear it straight up than being played around with. This song finds Abdul all aflutter over a guy who seems too good to be true. She's been hurt before, so she wants him to be honest with her and tell her, does he really love her, or are they just fooling around? This song ended up becoming a smash hit in the United States and was the best-selling single of 1989.
I've been fooled before, wouldn't like to get my love caught in the slamming door. How about some information, please? Straight up now, tell me, do you really wanna love me forever?
Livin' on a Prayer by Bon Jovi is the song we chose for our social commentary. It is a combination of many real issues and situations during the Reagan era, from social and economic conditions to real-life stories of old friends, but the most prominent and most important message is of love and getting through hard times with love. The song can also represent the society of America as a whole, characterizing the hard work and persistence of Americans. The song starts out describing Tommy and Gina, an ordinary young couple who are struggling to make ends while maintaining their relationship. Tommy and Gina are just characters who symbolize the general public. The song is about holding on to hope and understanding that emotions such as love can pull people through many situations. The lyrics, we've got to hold on to what we've got, it doesn't make a difference if we make it or not, we've got each other, state how the only thing that matters is that the couple is together and that is all that matters to them. The song conveys the meaning that it does not matter if they fail to make it through the hard times because they can fail together and still be happy.
each other, and that's a lot for love. We'll give it a shot. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, give me one more prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear.
99 Luft Balloons is a Cold War era protest song by the German singer Nina. Originally sung in German, it was later re-recorded in English as 99 Red Balloons. The song came during a period of escalating rhetoric and strategic maneuvering between the United States and the Soviet Union in the Cold War. In particular, its international chart success followed the United States deployment of perishing missiles in West Germany in January 1984, which prompted protests across Western Europe. This was one of the songs in the 1980s to make a point about the brinkmanship and paranoia or hysteria surrounding the issue of war. The song talks about Nina and the listener buying 99 balloons in a shop and letting them go for fun. These balloons show up on the radar as unidentified objects, and both sides scramble planes and go to full alert to counteract a perceived nuclear attack, when in fact it was a bunch of balloons.
99 Luftballons auf ihrem Weg zum Horizont hielt man für UFOs aus dem All. Warum schickte ein General die Fliegerstaffeln hinterher? Alarm zu geben, wenn's so wär. Dabei waren dort am Horizont 99 Luftballons.
Mr. Brownstone is a high point of Guns N' Roses' world-renowned Appetite for Destruction album. The hard rock is about one thing and one thing only, and that is drugs. The lyrics depict a typical day in the life of the band members. However, this certain song is about how a certain drug affected the band. Axl Rose's lyrics mention how the band would normally take this drug before performing concerts. The show usually starts around 7, we go on stage around 9. Means they were 2 hours late for the show because of the drug. Later he sings, "Now I get up around whenever I used to get up on time," meaning he doesn't care about it anymore because he's so obsessed with the drug. The song of our choice is Girls Just Wanna Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. This was Lauper's first single as a solo artist. She released an album in 1981 as a member of the group Blue Angel, but Girls Just Wanna Have Fun made her famous. The song was a huge part of 80s culture. It became an anthem for a female attitude and set fashion trends as the video showed Lauper wearing bright, outrageous clothes that looked like they came from a thrift store. It set the stage for artists like Madonna, independent women wearing cheap yet fashionable clothes with a taste for garish accessories.
Girls, they wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have fun. The phone rings in the middle of the night. My body yells, "What you gonna do with your life?" Oh, daddy, do you know you're still number one?
New genres popularized in the decade included hard rock, heavy metal, alternative rock, synth pop, and post-punk. Changes in music came quickly during the 1980s, and they were so diverse, original, and at times controversial, it is often difficult to realize the scale. It opened with the deaths of two highly influential musical figures, John Lennon in 1980 and Bob Marley in 1981. These seemed to set the scene up for a turbulent decade. Many think of the 80s as a revolutionary time because of the social and political changes which inspired much of the music produced in this era. It was certainly a politically charged decade. Unemployment, riots, and miners' strikes overshadowed the majority of it, defiantly opposing the glamorous side of music. Many artists, particularly those to the new romantics genre, used music as a form of escapism, or, like the hip-hop artists of today, to show particular points of view through this art form. In 1981, MTV launched with the first music video, Video Killed the Radio Star by the Bugles, setting the precedence for popular songs to be accompanied with music videos for the rest of the decade.
Michael Jackson is one of the most influential music artists of the 80s. Also known as the King of Pop, Jackson is known for many things, such as his dance moves, his fashion, and his music videos. His dance moves went from the blunt sexuality of the crotch grabs to the laser-sharp spins, snaps, and pivots, to the mesmerizing group choreography spotlighted in his videos, and of course his most famous dance move, the moonwalk. His fashion consisted of single white sequins gloves, the red leather jacket with so many zippers, the pegged pants, the fedora, and the bedazzled military coats. His look was a precise exercise straddling desirability and eccentricity. When Michael Jackson's full-length Thriller video was set to debut following an orgy of hype on MTV in late 1983, people wrote it on their calendars. They stayed at home just to see it. This is the most expensive video that was ever made at the time, and it was essentially a cinematic experience, a nearly 15-minute-long mini-movie. Jackson reshaped pop culture in ways that are hard to comprehend. He influenced just about every musician who came after him in one way or another. His legacy is almost impossible to pin down, making him the true king of pop. With a glittering run of records spanning an entire decade to rival anything else in pop, Prince's influence on those that came to funk after him is necessarily huge, and yet in some ways the shadow he casts over the pop cultural landscape is more diffuse than with David Bowie. This can reflect his complex relationship with black music. Although Prince is remembered primarily for his funk, his star faded with the rise in the US mainstream of hip-hop, which was an awkward fit for his flamboyant brand of showmanship. As a performer, he challenged the limits of sexuality, in many ways paralleling Madonna's musical exploration of suggestive behaviors and taboo topics during the 1980s. He will always be remembered as one of the most significant artists in American popular music history. Madonna was not only known for her music, but for her sense of style. She incorporated punk-influenced styles such as the heavy makeup, fishnet tights, and rubber bracelets, which blurred the line between pop and rebellion, which was one of the keys to her phenomenal success. In 1984, Madonna blurred this line further as she shocked audiences by wearing a punked-up bridal ensemble with her signature boy toy belt and writhed on stage to Like a Virgin. This iconic and easily accessible rebellious look created by Madonna was a quick catch to amongst teenagers across the world. Today's music simply wouldn't sound like it does if Whitney Houston hadn't burst onto the scene in 1985 as the original pop music diva. In addition to changing the face of pop music and electrifying radio listeners who were ready for her new sound, she smashed the world records left and right. Houston was the only artist to chart 7 consecutive #1 singles. The first 4 singles from Whitney joined 3 from Whitney Houston to smash the record for the most consecutive singles. This record has not been broken from the 80s, and no other artist has ever achieved 7 singles in a row on the Hot 100. This makes Whitney Houston one of the most memorable celebrities of the 1980s. 1980s fashion is known for its creativity. Some fashion designers abandoned history, some borrowed from it, while others tried to design the future. Designers abandoned all convention, and their creations were very interesting and unique. The early 80s were somewhat subdued in color, where there are a lot of browns and tans and oranges. Blocky shapes were everywhere, and dressing like a tennis player was the cool thing to do. Velour was hot, and velvet was even hotter. For both men and women, the waistline was very high. Early 1980s fashion was very similar to the late 70s, but by the mid-80s, pop music stars like Cyndi Lauper were ushering in an entirely new style, one that many people associate with the 1980s to this day. Bright-colored accessories like sunglasses, bangles, and hoop earrings were a necessity. Teased hair, loud makeup, and neon were an important part of this style. This style was a lot more popular for the younger crowd. In 1987, it was very popular to wear brand clothing such as wearing the Coca-Cola brand. MTV had a huge impact on fashion as teens across the US were tuning in to watch music videos starring wildly dressed celebrities. By the late 80s, Nike had grown into one of the most profitable clothing companies in the world. Like Coke vs. Pepsi, Reebok vs. Nike was the athletic wear battle of the decade. With the help of Michael Jordan, Nike won the war. In 1988, every kid had to have a pair of Air Jordans and a Chicago Bulls baseball cap. There were a great amount of fashion trends set throughout the 80s.
Beyond the neon clothing and dance music that characterizes the 1980s, the decade had some notable culinary developments. A few examples of food popularized in the 1980s include Totino's Pizza Rolls, Hot Pockets, Sloppy Joes, fudge pops, lean cuisine, pasta salads, as well as frozen yogurt. Along with the new genres of music being popularized in the 1980s came new dances to accompany them. A few examples being The Running Man, popularized by Janet Jackson, Vanilla Ice, and MC Hammer. The MC Hammer dance, popularized by the music video for It's Hammer Time. The Sprinkler, The Moonwalk, popularized by Michael Jackson. And finally, The Robot.
You can't see it. It's electric. You gotta feel it. It's electric. Ooh, it's shocking. It's electric. Dig it up, Mr. Kelly with the bubble electric magic. She's a moving along like she's so comfortable. You gotta know it. It's electric. Woogie, woogie, woogie. That you can't hold it. It's electric. Woogie, woogie, woogie. But you know it's there. Here, there, and everywhere. I've got to move. I'm going on a party ride. I've got to groove, and bump this music out.
As times changed during the 1980s, more and more fads began popping up. A few examples of these fads include big hair with lots of hairspray, which was worn by not only women but also 1980s rock stars as well. Boom boxes, oversized radios that were popular with the youth of the early and mid 80s because of the way they projected music. Converse shoes, popular sneakers that come in many colors and high top or the low top option. Cabbage Patch dolls, the doll craze of the 80s and one of the most prominent fads of the decade. Slap bracelets, a flexible metal with colorful cloth over it that you'd smack on your wrist. Neon, which went from shoelaces to accessories to store signs and even hair. And finally the mullet, perhaps the greatest fad of the decade. The mullet was a unique hairstyle where the front is short and the back is long, sometimes referred to as business in the front, party in the back.